Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for Miss Marvel Season 1, Episode 2, Crushed. Welcome, everybody. Let me take care of some business first, and we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos, my vast video library, and pops it up here just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there and hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you're feeling lucky, you can hit that bell down below, and YouTube may or may not notify you when I come on live. So what you should do is go over to suspendedfanimation.com, take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media up there and all the links to my pages as well. All right, let's get to it, shall we? Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you have not watched the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. Giving you enough time to hit pause. All right. So, was this any better than the first episode? No, not really. We get more info on the family. Don't get me wrong. I like the family and all this kind of stuff. This just does not feel like a Marvel show at all. Again, this still feels like a Disney Channel circa 1990s show. Like I said, missing a laugh track, that kind of thing. And it just doesn't feel like a Marvel show at all. Um, yeah, I want to like it, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, did the writer of the show ever read comics at all? Because um, the whole thing with now having Kamala Khan creating hard light constructs, which is Green Lantern. Like it said, have you ever, you know, have you ever read Green Lantern, seen Green Lantern, something like that? Because same thing, hard light constructs. Yes, I know Marvel did not want to go with the whole inhuman aspect of it, or are they? We don't know for sure because of. So at one point, Bruno is somehow monitoring how Kamala is using her bangle, if you will, and her body as well, and seeing that the bangle is actually just a conduit for whatever her body is producing to make these hard light constructs. So, is she an inhuman? Is she Kree? Is she eternal? We don't know. Is this going to be something that comes up down the line? Possibly. So Penn says the love interest is too good to be true. He must be secretly evil. I have a feeling, Penn, that he's related to her. And I'll get to that in a minute too. So yeah, that whole thing with uh so the bangle can also be tied into the bracelet, can be tied into the 10 rings, or it can be tied into the Unimind as well. So all of these things, I'm sure we're going to find out, we're going to find out at the end of this season, of course, what happens, because this season is going to roll into the Marvels, which is supposed to be the Captain Marvel 2 movie, which Camilla Khan's going to be in that. I think someone else is going to be in that too. I want to say Monica Rambeau is going to be in that as well. And we're going to get her. Yeah, she is actually going to be in that one too. So Spectrum is now, she's Spectrum because, of course, after WandaVision. Um, and I'm more interested in Spectrum, to tell you the truth, than I am in Kamala Khan right now, because and the thing is, I like this character in the comics. I also liked her in the video games. I'm not liking this version of her just because they kind of went wimpy on the on where she got her powers from. Excuse me. And granted, you can't really do Terrigen Mists, and although Agents of Shield did it, um, yeah, but you can't do it the way that the comics did it. So in 2011, 2012, somewhere around there, in the comics, the Inhumans, Black Bolt, who of course leads the Inhumans, spreads a whole bunch of Terrigen mist all over the earth, and this mist kind of travels, and whoever has Inhuman DNA in them gets cocooned in this kind of gooey cocoon, and they come out with powers. Why did he do it? He was in a fight with Thanos and needed more troops, is really what it came down to. Um, and that's how that came about. That Kamala Khan was actually at a party she wasn't supposed to be at. She's walking down the street, gets hit by Terrigen Mist. She comes out of it being able to be a polymorph. She's able to shapeshift and stuff like that. So that's where her comic roots come from. Not so, of course, in this. So, going back to this episode here, we get a bit about the partition, which happened in 1947. That is the split. So, India used to be one big country, and then, of course, it got split in 1947 to India and Pakistan. And out of all of this, there was a lot of violence and bloodshed that happened during that time period. Um, Families got separated, of course, shattered, lots of lives lost. So they kind of touch on this a bit with the grandmother, Sana, who was a little girl at the time, and how she got separated from her father. And then she found her way back by following a trail of stars to her father, is what she said. Um, we also find out about the great grandmother, Aisha, who supposedly was, everything she touched was cursed. Uh, had secret affairs, maybe even killed a man, all this kind of stuff. We find out this as well, who is an interesting character. So she might have had secret families, even, which brings in the character that we get introduced to here, Kamran. Kamran is a new senior. He has moved into school there. He likes Kamala, and we get to see him. He's really interested in Kamala at this point. So, at the end of the episode here, we are celebrating, and I'm sorry, I forgot what they're celebrating. It's Eid. Um, I'm blanking out all of a sudden. EID, and then I'm blanking on it. Apologies on that one. Um, but they're celebrating there. There's like a festival going on at the mosque, and there's a boy that is up in the tower of the mosque. He's trying to get it. He's leaning out the window, of course, taking selfies. And what's going to happen? Of course, he's going to fall out the window, hold on to a curtain that is breaking. The little rings are breaking, and who shows up but Nightlight, who is, yeah, that's what they've been calling her now. I should say Zoe is calling her that. Zoe, the girl who she rescued from school at the con there, has dubbed her Nightlight. So Kamala has, of course, has been training to control these hard light constructs, and she can create platforms that she can walk on in the air. She does save the kid, kind of, sort of, but she's also having flashes of seeing people. She sees one woman in particular, especially whenever her great grandmother is mentioned, and is most likely can communicate with all the users of the bangle as well in the past. That's what I'm guessing is going to be happening with this. CBM says, I love how the cultural history is incorporated rather than treating Pakistan as a place without history. Yeah, I agree with you, CBM. Like I said, I don't have a problem with the storyline. It's just, it doesn't feel like a Marvel, like this is part of Marvel, because they haven't, it feels like it's a different story altogether, is what this is. That's a different, yeah. Um, CBM says the holiday Eid, it has a more specific name though. Thank you. Murbach is sort of like saying happy. Okay. Thank you for that clarification, CBM. I was going to do some research on it, and then I ran out of time. I really did. I have pages up and all that kind of stuff too. Um, so in between all of this too, as we're getting to know a lot of these people. Of course, we get Nakia, who is one of her friends, and we get to learn about a little bit more about her. Also, the mosque, how we know that the men and the women are separated in the mosque, but the women's side is really dilapidated and kind of fallen apart. So Kamala kind of pushes Nakia into running for to help lead the mosque, and so there's elections that are taking place, and so she decides to take it seriously and says, "Yeah." And this is, of course, after her her shoes get stolen. So yeah, at the mosque, there's all kinds of stuff that's happening there. So um, the election subplot, of course, when we're at Id, we see the Id celebration, I should say. You see, there's all these different factions within the mosque, and you have I thought it was kind of funny how they introduced them like rival gangs almost. So you have the Mosque Bros, you have the Pious Boys, you have the converts or reverts as they call them, which are of course uh, not of Pakistani or Indian uh, descent. Then you have the mini harami girls, and then of course my favorite, which I think, just because of the name, the Aluma aunties, which just fucking made me laugh. It really did. Uh, who are all knowing and have all the information and gossip all the time, you know. So, uh, yeah. CBM says, from what I'm hearing in comments, the specific name of the holiday is Id al Ada. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna murder that name, by the way. So, like I do anything that even murder English for Christ's sakes. I mean, yeah, I murder a lot of stuff. That's what I'm famous for here. So, pronunciation wise, so forgiveness on all of that, if you can. But yeah, so we get introduced to all these factions, the Illuminantes, the Illuminantes. Sorry, it's just gonna make me laugh every time I say that name. Um, have some information about her grandmother, but of course it's all hearsay, it's all legend, it's all facts. Her great grandmother, I should say. And uh, Kamala is also having some weird things that are going on with the bangle as well, where her nose is lighting up. The bangle is lighting up itself. The bangle has writing on it too, which her and Bruno have not deciphered as of yet. So there's all this stuff that revolves around the bangle. So at the end, when she rescues this boy, well, kind of, sort of, she fucks up a little bit and has a fugue state that happens, and the boy drops, and she uses some of the hard light constructs to break his fall here and there. He ends up breaking his ankle, but still, she ends up getting down to ground level, and that's when damage control shows up. So damage control, we find out, are a bit more insidious at this point. They are kind of racist, especially with one of the interrogators coming into the room when they're talking to Zoe Zimmerman, and uh yeah, the interrogator is pretty much asking a lot of racist questions. Uh, you know, is this person, she's basically profiling is what she's doing. And yeah, it was just kind of a really uncomfortable scene for the most part. It could be a lot more uncomfortable, but they did it enough. So damage control is waiting for Kamala down in that alley. And they're using, by the way, if you go back and take a look at it, they're using Stark drones, the Stark drones that Mysterio used for the illusions. So those are actually the Stark drones that they're using that they confiscated from Peter Parker and from yeah, and Stark Industries. So they're using them against powered people now at this point. So Kamala actually dodges them. She falls to the street behind the van on the other side of the group that are chasing her. And who shows up but her little boy toy there, Cameron? He picks her up in the car and she takes off. And his mother is in the back seat of the car, and she says, "I've heard much about you, Kamala. I've wanted to meet you for a while now." We don't know who this woman is, but of course, the way she says it, it's kind of evil sounding. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that um, Cameron's mom and Cameron himself, of course, are related to Kamala through her great grandmother. And that whole thing about her having secret families and stuff like that is actually true. And it wasn't a secret family, it's just that she got separated, you know. Uh, so yeah, I think that's where we're going with this. But yeah, in and of itself, it would just been its own series on Disney. I think it would be okay, but trying to throw the Marvel stuff in there too is what is throwing me off on it, and isn't really living up to the Marvel hype, I guess you could say. So I don't know, but then again, we're 2 episodes in, so I don't know where we're at here. Um, the other thing about this too that was kind of funny is you get an Eternals reference as well. So where her and Kamala and Cameron are actually in the car. They're on their kind of unofficial first date, if you will, and they're talking about Bollywood movies. And of course, he mentions that his mother is really into Kingo Senior, who of course is from the Eternals. Kingo, and he keeps he's a movie actor in Bollywood movies, and he's played Kingo Senior, Kingo Junior, Kingo the Third, so on and so forth. So that was actually kind of funny. We get a little nod to the Eternals there as well. Um, yeah, this again, I want it to be a little bit better. I understand you need to fill in the background, the history of these characters, and it does make it feel more lived in a world. I understand this, but I want more of the Marvel stuff in there too, and I want to tie it to the Marvel universe a bit better. Is where I'm at on this. CBM says it's funny that older Kingo is somehow more gross than Kingo now. Yeah, I know. Well, you know. So that's where we're at. We don't know who his mother is in the back seat of the car, what she's going to be tied to, and essentially, Kamala is Green Lantern, only with hard light, rainbow, sparkly constructs. There we go. That's what she is now. Anyway, so with that said, I don't know where we're going with this again. Like I said, again, they could tie her into being Kree. They could tie her into being Inhuman. They could tie her into, being in a, part of the Eternals. I don't know how they're going to do that though, but uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where we're going with this. It would be nice to bring the Inhumans back, quite honestly. I mean, considering what we got with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I can see them actually bringing the Inhumans, shoehorning them back in again, and not doing the horrible fucking version that we got from ABC and Jeff Loeb and Ike Perlmutter, because that was just a whole fucking horrible version. It really was. Um, yeah, and that's where I'm going to leave it at. So, what else do I have going on the rest of this week? Well, tomorrow I'm off. Friday is going to be The Boys. That's right, The Boys episode 5. Saturday I'm off. Sunday is the Sunday edition of Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the weekend and genre stuff you guys want to talk about. We talk about it. Monday I'll be off, and then Tuesday may or may not be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? I don't know what I'm doing as of yet. Yeah, I think there is something coming out on Netflix, but I don't know exactly what. But maybe not. We'll see. Just take a look at the schedule. And of course, we roll back around to Wednesday with a double header of the season finale of Obi-Wan. And then, of course, the episode 3 of Miss Marvel. So, thank you to everyone who joined me today in the chat. And thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up here just for you. And if you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'll be on live again next, go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it every week. Also have all the links to my social media there and all the links to my pages as well. All right. With that said, I'm going to let you guys go for the rest of the night. Thank you, everyone. I will see you again on Friday for The Boys. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may find out that, the bangle is really just a Green Lantern ring, only a lot bigger. And it stays on a lot better because it's on the wrist instead of on the fingers. But hey, what else? Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Friday. Stay safe, be well, take care, get those vaccine shots, get those boosters as well, because they don't work without them, and mask up again because COVID's starting to spike again. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Friday. Stay safe, be well, and take care out there. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.